Germany after World War II is the most vulnerable place on Earth.
Living here is hell. Houses collapse into dust, streets rot into rubble. Food is scarce, water is unsafe, power is gone. The war is over, but survival has only just begun. That's what the papers say.
But have you ever wondered how it truly feels to wake up inside that nightmare? To breathe it, to walk it, to endure it.
Today, with the support of AI, we reconstruct Berlin in 1945, not as history, but as lived reality. One when a street stops working.
First, we'll visit Friedrichstraße, Potsdamer, once one of Berlin's main commercial arteries. Now, a broken corridor running through the center of the city.
In 1945, Friedrichstraße is no longer a functioning street. Large sections of the surrounding buildings are destroyed or partially collapsed. Entire blocks are missing. Others still stand, but only as shells. Berlin has lost hundreds of thousands of apartments. Millions remain in the city with nowhere stable to live. Damage is uneven. One structure survives. The next is cut open from the roof to the cellar. This uneven destruction matters. It means the street no longer guides movement. Pavements disappear under rubble. Intersections lose their meaning. Familiar routes no longer connect. Navigation becomes guesswork. The city stops behaving like a city. Now look around you. Walls are gone. You can see straight into former living rooms, kitchens, stairwells. Furniture hangs at strange angles, trapped where floors once were. Sheets and boards are nailed across openings to mark occupied spaces. Cellars are crowded. Upper floors are avoided. Wind moves freely through exposed interiors, carrying dust and fine ash into every space. The air is dry and heavy. Brick dust coats shoes and skin. Burned wood mixes with damp stone. There is no single smell, just layers of residue left behind by weeks of fire and collapse. Sound travels differently now. Footsteps crunch, metal scrapes. Voices stay low, not for secrecy, but because nothing absorbs noise anymore. People move carefully. No one walks fast. They watch the ground, not the skyline. Every step is a calculation, loose masonry, hidden voids, unstable walls.
Here, the war hasn't ended. It has simply changed form. Berlin still stands, but space itself has stopped making sense.
2, a square without a clock. Moving north from Friedrichstraße, you arrive at Alexanderplatz. Before the war, this was one of Berlin's main coordination points, a place where transport lines met schedules mattered and movement followed a rhythm. In 1945, Alexanderplatz still exists, but it no longer performs any of those functions. Large parts of Berlin's electrical grid are destroyed or unreliable. Water supply is intermittent and often unsafe. Central heating does not function. Public transport is halted or run sporadically without notice. Official timetables remain printed, but they no longer correspond to reality. Days are no longer divided by work hours or departures. They are divided by light and darkness. That is the factual situation. Now watch the people. Small groups stand without clear purpose. Some wait near former tram stops, not because they expect a vehicle to arrive, but because this is where waiting used to happen. Buckets, cans, and chipped pots are held close to the body. These containers are for water, if water appears. No one knows when it will. Conversations are brief. Information travels as rumor, not instruction. Faces are tight controlled. Eyes move constantly scanning for signs, smoke that might mean warmth, a line that might mean food, a sound that might suggest activity. People suppress impatience because impatience has nowhere to go. They suppress fear because fear wastes energy. Nothing about waiting here is temporary, so no one treats it that way. As daylight fades, movement slows further. Fires are lit indoors, small and carefully managed. Smoke settles low and clings to clothing. Darkness arrives without warning lights or signals. There is no announcement marking the end of the day. It simply happens.
At Alexanderplatz, time does not advance. It thins out Orange until only survival tasks remain. And when routine disappears, hunger is next.
3 Hunger rewrites the city. This is Tiergarten. Before the war, it was Berlin's Central Park. In 1945, it functions as a food source of last resort. Berlin's supply lines are broken. Rail connections are damaged or unreliable. Warehouses are destroyed. Official rations exist on paper, but deliveries are irregular and quantities are insufficient. Markets no longer operate as markets. Shops have empty shelves, shattered windows, and no stock to replenish. What food enters the city does not circulate evenly, and it does not last. So people come here. The park's surface is no longer continuous. Grass is stripped away in patches. Soil is turned by hand. There is no plan, no spacing, no tools beyond what can be carried. The ground shows fresh cuts where roots have been pulled, shallow holes where potatoes might grow. Trees stand without lower branches. Anything burnable has already been taken. Food itself looks altered. Portions are small and repetitive. Bread is dense and gray. Soup is thin, more water than substance. Potatoes are dirt-stained and uneven. Nothing is discarded. Peels are saved. Bones are reused. Containers matter more than taste. A tin, a bottle, a cloth sack. These are worth keeping. People react with focus, not panic. Movements are economical. Eyes track hands. When food appears, it is shielded by bodies and coats. Exchanges are brief and quiet, an object passed, a portion divided, a promise made. Arguments are short. There is no energy for escalation. Hunger does not produce shouting. It produces calculation. Other things lose value quickly. Money changes hands less often. Jewelry stays hidden. Documents are folded and protected, but not traded. The stomach sets the hierarchy. Everything else drops below it.
In Tiergarten, Berlin is not eating to live well. It is eating to keep moving.
4 labor without strength. Now look further. Can you see it? Women are replacing men in work that was never meant for them. This is Potsdamer Platz. Before the war, it was one of the busiest intersections in Europe. In 1945, it is an open field of debris. The streets that once crossed here are blocked by collapsed masonry. Buildings are reduced to fragments. Nothing can move through this space until the rubble is cleared. Berlin's workforce has changed. A large portion of its men are dead, missing, or held as prisoners of war. What remains are women, children, and the elderly. The debris does not remove itself, so the work begins. There are no machines, no cranes, no protective gear. Bricks are lifted by hand, cleaned and stacked for reuse. Broken stone is sorted. Twisted metal is dragged aside. The tools are basic. The labor is continuous. The physical strain is visible. Arms tremble under weight. Backs stay bent longer than they should. Hands are wrapped in cloth or left bare, skin cracked and gray with dust. These bodies are not built for this kind of work, but the work does not adjust. Rest comes briefly, standing upright, never sitting. Water is rationed. Fatigue accumulates faster than progress. Faces remain controlled. There is little conversation. Instructions are short. Movements repeat until they become automatic. Children wait nearby, carrying smaller pieces, watching the rhythm. Older women sort fragments instead of lifting them. Everyone adapts to what their body can still provide. This is not reconstruction. It is clearance. The goal is not improvement, only access to streets, to shelter, to something that functions. At Potsdamer Platz, survival is not passive. It is lifted, carried, and paid for in exhaustion. 5 Authority without safety. Now move toward the Reichstag. Before the war, this building represented decision-making, law, and direction. In 1945, it represents something narrower control without clarity.
The regime is gone. The structure of power remains, but it no longer explains itself.
Berlin is under Allied occupation. The city is divided into zones. In the center, Soviet forces hold authority. Civil administration exists only in fragments. Rules are introduced quickly, then revised, then replaced. Curfews are announced unevenly. Restrictions differ by street, by district, by day. Information arrives late or not at all. This is the factual environment. Now observe how people move within it. Civilians approach open spaces cautiously. Paths curve away from soldiers rather than toward efficiency. Bags are held close. Documents are kept ready, but not displayed unless requested. Conversations stop when uniforms come into view. Eye contact is brief, then avoided. Movement resumes only after distance is restored. Patrols are present, but not constant. Enforcement depends on who is standing where and at what moment. Decisions are made quickly without explanation. A person is stopped. Papers are examined. A bag is opened. The pause lasts seconds, sometimes longer. Then, the person is released and sent on without comment.
Nothing dramatic occurs. That is the point. Safety does not return with authority. It lags behind. People learn this quickly. They adjust posture, routes, timing. They carry less. They speak less. They wait for signals that never fully form.
The Reichstag stands scarred and blackened, its walls marked by the end of one power and the arrival of another. Around it, civilians circulate quietly, aware that visibility carries risk. Berlin now has rulers again. What it does not yet have is protection. And in that gap, private decisions begin to replace public rules. Sixth, the city's shadow economy. This is Görlitzer Bahnhof. Before the war, it was a long-distance rail terminal, a place of schedules and departures. In 1945, the tracks are dead. The building is hollow. Control no longer reaches inside. Rail traffic has collapsed. Lighting is absent. Records are gone. Police presence is limited and irregular. Allied patrols pass through, but their priority is order, not theft. In the gaps between authority, a different system forms. Illegal trade concentrates here. Exchanges happen quickly and without ceremony. Food, cigarettes, alcohol, fuel all move hand to hand in small quantities. Prices change by the hour. Money matters less than objects. Cigarettes function as units of value. A coat can buy a meal. A watch can buy several. Ration cards appear, disappear, reappear, altered. No one asks where they came from. The space shapes behavior. People stand angled toward exits. Goods stay hidden under coats or blankets until the last moment. Hands are never empty. Eye contact is brief. Conversations end early. If a deal cannot be completed immediately, it does not happen. Queues attract theft. Pockets are checked constantly. Bags are tied close. When something goes missing, there is no accusation. Confrontation costs too much. Most losses are absorbed in silence. Violence is implied rather than shown. It does not need to announce itself. Everyone understands the limits. Arguments are short. Threats remain indirect. The goal is not dominance, only continuation. Aid shipments pass nearby and are watched carefully. Some are diverted. Some are broken apart and resold piece by piece. Nothing circulates intact for long. Everything fragments.
Here, illegality is not rebellion. It is replacement. It fills the space left by collapsed supply, weak enforcement, and hunger that does not wait.
Görlitzer Bahnhof does not feel chaotic. It feels organized, just not officially. And a city cannot survive forever this way. 7. A city finds its rhythm again. There are still bright places in this mournful city. They are quiet, practical, and easy to miss. This is the Wannsee-Schöneberg S-Bahn line. In the spring of 1945, Berlin's rail system is effectively dead. Tracks are damaged, tunnels are flooded, power is unreliable. Nearly all rolling stock is unusable. For weeks, movement across the city depends on walking carts and rumor. Distance costs energy, and energy costs food. In July, limited service resumes here first. It is not a celebration, it is a procedure. A timetable is posted, a platform is cleared, a train arrives slowly without ceremony. Doors open, people board. What matters is not speed, it is predictability. Passengers arrive early. They stand in lines without being told to. Bags are lighter than before, packed with only what can be carried daily. People check watches, then check the board again. They adjust position when the train stops precisely where it should. No one applauds, no one speaks loudly. Normal behavior returns before confidence does. This small stretch of rail changes daily calculation. Work can be reached without spending hours of walking. Aid can be collected and carried back. Family members in other districts are no longer abstract distances. Time regains shape. Waiting has an endpoint again. You can see it in posture. Shoulders lower slightly. Movements align. People plan more than one step ahead. The city's informal systems barter shortcuts. Avoidance begin to loosen their grip, not because they are wrong, but because something reliable has reappeared. Berlin does not recover here. It stabilizes. In a city shaped by loss, this is resilience without language. Not optimism, not forgetting. Just the quiet decision to keep going on schedule. Fast forward to the present. Berlin today is rebuilt, connected, and alive. Trains run on time. Streets are mapped, lit, predictable. Cafes fill spaces that were once empty shells. Parks are green again. The city functions openly, confidently, without improvisation. But not everything has disappeared. The layout still carries scars, gaps between buildings, sudden open spaces, a culture that values systems preparation and redundancy.
Berlin learned the hard way that cities survive not on symbols or strength, but on function, on coordination, on making daily life work, even under pressure.
That lesson never left. What you've just seen is not only history, it's a warning and a manual. If this reconstruction changed how you see city systems or survival, let us know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe for more deep reconstructions, and thank you for walking through Berlin with us.